Most people focus on the moment a committee decision is made, the vote, the approval, the rejection, the strategic shift. But the real story doesn't start there. It starts the day after. In governance, committees are powerful. Investment committees, risk committees, audit committees, board committees. But what really matters isn't the decision recorded in the minutes. It's what happens after the meeting room empties. Today, we're looking at what really happens the day after committee decisions, when attention fades, documentation is filed away, and long-term consequences quietly begin. Let's start with the moment everyone remembers. The room is focused, slides are presented, risks are discussed, votes are taken, consensus is reached. At the time, the decision feels structured, rational, responsible. Why? Because there was data, there was discussion, there was majority agreement, there were minutes recorded. The assumptions people make in that moment: we've covered the risks, we've documented everything. Implementation will follow naturally. The governance process worked, and often it did. At the time, the decision made sense. That's important. Governance failures rarely begin with obviously bad decisions. They begin with incomplete follow-through. The day after, things still look fine. The minutes are circulated, action points are assigned, teams move forward. There's short-term reassurance. The committee met on time, the vote passed, the documentation exists, the regulator would see structure. It feels like progress. There may even be early wins. A project launches, a risk is mitigated, a vendor is approved, a policy is updated. From the outside, governance appears intact. No alarms, no crisis, no visible breakdown. And this is where most organizations relax. This is where the invisible shifts begin. After the decision, assumptions become embedded. Teams interpret action items differently. Accountability diffuses. Follow-up deadlines quietly move. Subtle behavior changes begin. We already discussed that. The committee approved it. Let's not reopen this. New pressures emerge: delivery timelines, budget constraints, political sensitivities, reputation concerns. Small compromises appear, a risk register not updated, a dependency not escalated, a follow-up not formally documented, a condition approved subject to clarification, but never clarified. Early trade-offs that go unnoticed: speed over documentation, consensus over challenge, comfort over escalation. Nothing dramatic happens, but governance isn't about dramatic moments, it's about continuity. And when documentation, oversight tracking, and structured lifecycle monitoring are weak, decisions slowly detach from accountability. This is why governance is not an event, it's a living system. The consequences don't arrive loudly, they arrive slowly. 6 months later, a risk materializes. A regulator asks for evidence, a vendor underperforms, a strategic decision backfires, and people say, "How did this happen?" But nothing broke overnight. The committee decision wasn't the problem. The problem was no structured post-decision monitoring, no escalation trigger tracking, no ownership verification, no documentation lifecycle control. In hindsight, the warning signs were there: inconsistent reporting, missed deadlines, vague accountability, informal adjustments outside formal documentation. Governance breakdown feels sudden, but it's cumulative. Most people don't ignore problems, they simply don't see them yet. Why? Cognitive bias. We made a rational decision, it must be correct. Overconfidence. The committee approved it, it's safe. Process blindness. We assume that because something was documented once, it is still being monitored. Emotional investment. No one wants to admit their decision needs revision. Organizational inertia. Challenging a past decision feels disruptive, so small governance gaps persist. Not because people are careless, but because systems don't continuously surface friction. And governance systems that rely on memory, spreadsheets, or static documents eventually lose visibility. Experienced governance professionals don't judge decisions by the moment they're made. They judge them by what happens after. They ask, who owns this decision now? What conditions must be monitored? What triggers require escalation? What documentation must evolve? Where is the evidence trail maintained? They don't just record decisions, they track consequences. They expect behaviors to change. Reporting cadence adjusts. Risk logs evolve. Oversight reviews include follow-up checks. Documentation is updated, not archived. They think in lifecycle terms. Decision, implementation, monitoring, review, adjustment, evidence. Governance maturity is not measured by how well meetings are run. It's measured by how well decisions live beyond the meeting. This is where structured oversight platforms, especially documentation exchange systems like DocXchange, become critical. Because governance without traceability is fragile. The lesson isn't don't act, the lesson is plan for the day after. One mindset shift. Don't ask, is this decision correct? Ask, how will we monitor this decision for the next 12 months? One framing principle. Every committee decision should have defined ownership, defined monitoring metrics, defined documentation updates, defined escalation triggers. One long-term question. If this decision fails, what evidence will show that we were monitoring it properly? If you can't answer that, the governance lifecycle isn't complete. Most governance failures don't begin in the meeting room. They begin after the meeting ends. Decisions don't fail when they're made. They fail in the days, weeks, and months that follow. If this changed how you think about committee decisions, that's the goal. This is the day after, and next week we'll explore what happens after regulatory findings are issued. Until then, plan for the day after.